She's annoying me. What's up, my little enzymes, and welcome back to Dacia's Digest. I've gotten a couple of questions on why we are named enzymes. It came from a comment that one of you left because we were trying to figure out the best name. I just wasn't vibing with digesters and those type of names, but someone mentioned we could be enzymes because enzymes aid in digestion. And even though technically this is not a channel that discusses digestion, we do have digest in the name, so it's kind of like a play on words, and I just thought it was cute. So that is why we are the little enzymes. And I think it's here to stay. I think that's what we're going with from now on. So get with it or get lost. Just kidding. So the topic of today's video is gonna kind of be a part 2 to the I regret having children video that I did previously. We have quite a few stories. The first few don't have updates, but the last 2 have several updates. Just as a warning, there is some, just skimming through, I see that there's some mention of abandonment, depression, harm, unwanted pregnancies, things of that nature. So, just keep that in mind. If any of that may trigger you, I can see you on the next video. If you do like these videos, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And with that being said, I'll go ahead and get into the video. Parenting is my greatest mistake. I, 33 male, and my wife, 33 female, welcomed a son last year. My wife is a wonderful spouse and a natural mother. She loves the baby with all her heart and has been so full of joy since bringing him home. I, however, want nothing more than to go back to the way things were before he was born. We used to sleep late on weekends, take vacations, and just generally have very little stress in our lives. I haven't slept well since last year, haven't had a quiet night with my wife in the same amount of time. On top of that, I'm stressed 24/7. I look forward to going to work so that I have a break from this baby. I loathe every Monday when my wife goes to the gym in the evening and I'm home alone with him until after his bedtime. By all accounts, he's a great baby. Every person I know that is a parent remarks on how easy he is, and his mom loves him completely. I don't love him at all. That is a strong statement. None of this is easy for me. I don't think it's great, and I think I've ruined my life. But I love my wife, and I agreed to this beforehand, thinking I'd love being a dad. We tried for several years to have him, and the whole time I was expecting to like being a dad. It hasn't happened. I'll never abandon, harm, or neglect this child because he deserves a good childhood, and I would never leave my wife. She's my whole world. But this was a mistake, and I hate myself for how I feel. I'm trying to process. I don't even know. There's a lot of details not here, so I don't know if they are able to maybe hire someone to help out or get someone else in there to help him out, just to take a little bit of the stress off and also allow him and his wife to have more vacations and time together, etc. Maybe that will help. It's good to know that he said, he'll never abandon or harm the child, because I was a little bit worried for a second there. But that is the reality. When people are considering having children, they always focus on the baby stage and not the fact that it's actually going to be a child. Yeah, it's going to be a cute little baby, but then you have to deal with everything that comes with that for at least the next 18 years. I feel for the guy. Let me go to the comments. Jones Kool-Aid says, it's tough when reality doesn't match expectations. Hang in there and don't be too hard on yourself. Okay. I Am Really said, my husband struggled quite a bit with our daughter. It was like she was an alien to him. He was very distant and seemed overly burdened by any level of parenting. Things did get better as she got older and her personality developed. I honestly spent most of her early years doing the majority of all the care and parenting. Your son will grow and become more autonomous. It seems like a lifetime from now, but it will happen. Someone responded to her, "Did you feel any resentment towards your husband during those times?" And someone else said, "Does your husband feel bad for not ever being there to assist you in her early years?" She hasn't responded yet, but those are some good questions. Because one of my thoughts was like maybe he could talk to the wife so they could kind of discuss some options. But then I feel like, I mean, if it were me and I was the wife and my husband is like, you know what, I really hate our child. That would be a little bit of a sting for me. I would probably be viewing him in a different way. So it's like tough. It's a tough situation. I do think he should be somewhat honest though. Maybe not say hate, but like be somewhat honest with his wife about his feelings. So hopefully she can be understanding and they can try to like work through it, have it be something that they work through together versus something that pulls them apart. I guess it depends on the nature of their relationship. That's so tough. Okay Relative says, "Sorry to hear that you are struggling. May I ask you something? Did you ever go to a doctor to talk about this? Difficulty bonding with your baby after a year and a lot of stress could be signs from postpartum anxiety or postpartum depression. These things do impact fathers as well as mothers. I'm not an expert, but I will highly advise you to at least make a small appointment with your local doctor to talk things over. You sound like a great guy. I hope the future is kinder on you." I think that's a good idea. OP said, "I have been seeing a therapist since he was 3 months old. It's helped some, and I'm on antidepressants, which helps some too. It'll be a long road with my mental health, but I'm making the journey." Okay, that's good. That's good. So at least he's not just sitting back and complaining and not doing anything. He's actually gone to see a doctor, is on, a prescription. Hopefully that helps. 2121 Jess says, "I'm wondering what your expectations were of fatherhood. If becoming a father is your biggest regret, were you conscious in your decision to become a parent, or was it just something you did?" Opie said, "My wife and I planned on kids before we got married. It was one of those talks we had to see if our life goals aligned before we got engaged. It was very much on purpose when she got pregnant, and I was expecting parenthood to be stressful but fulfilling. My father says the most gratifying thing he ever did in his life was be a dad, and I was expecting to feel the same when my son was born." Someone replied to that and said, "Ask your dad for advice and support. He knows what it's like. Now he can see it as a whole," which was overall great, but that doesn't mean he had an easy time in the beginning or that it was never hard. I would totally lean into that. You don't want to be alone with these feelings. A trusted friend or family member, pastor, counselor, talk to them about this stuff. It's going to help. Many, many men have felt and do feel this way. You aren't alone or a burden to anyone with your problems or less of a father or a man. Everyone needs help sometimes." That's good advice. Like I said, I think he should definitely, I was saying talk to the wife, but if it's not the wife, his own father is a good option too, because he's been through it and maybe he can sympathize with certain things. So people are giving him really good advice in this thread, actually. Stunning Lawyer says, "I'm curious what your relationship is like with your own father, and do your parents play a role in your son's life?" And Opie said, "I get along great with my dad and all my other parents, and they're very active in my son's life. Mom and stepdad see him weekly, and dad has seen him 4 times in the last year after traveling from another state. I love my parents and have always had good relationships with them." Yeah, I mean, in this case, I feel like maybe it's just a thing where like right now it's stressful, but when the child gets older and as another person said, has more autonomy and starts to develop their own personality, etc. Hopefully it will get easier, but at least it sounds like he's not just sitting back and doing nothing. He's taking steps to try and mitigate his feelings, but that is tough. That's why I don't want to have no kids, because it's rough. And the way that you think it might be, it might not be that way. Let's go to the next one. I regret absolutely everything. I had my first kid 6 years ago. I got pregnant at 17, and because I grew up in a harmful home, I thought it was my chance to have a better life even if the dad wasn't there. I had another 3 years ago with my current boyfriend and also have a 6-month-old now. Right after I had the first, I knew I'd made a mistake. But after I met my boyfriend, I thought things could be better since I'd have a family, and they just never seemed to actually get better. I'm at a point now where I'm 25, 3 kids, the oldest 2 don't listen to a single freaking word I say and do not care at all. My boyfriend gets to live his life, and although he's helpful, he works long hours, and when he isn't working, he gets to take trips with his band that he plays in, and I get to do nothing because we don't have money. I feel so trapped. I'm a stay-at-home mom because I have no help from family, and we can't afford daycare even if we both worked. I love my kids, but sometimes I get so mad that I just hate them. I constantly think of everything I missed out on. I haven't been on a trip in 5 years. I never get to go places. I never go on dates, and nothing ever changes. I'll go through periods where I'm content and accepting I'll never have a life, but then sometimes I'm so depressed that Sometimes I'm so depressed that I think of a way out of it without the guilt. I don't know how much longer I can keep living my isolated life. I am so miserable, and nothing I seem to say or do makes my boyfriend understand that I cannot take it anymore. Jeez. I mean, at the very least, I'm not seeing how her boyfriend gets to go and live his life when he's not working and takes trips with the band that he plays in, but she doesn't get to do anything. At the very least, there should be some equality there, like the same amount of times that he gets to take a trip, she should also, even if she's not taking a trip, at least have a break from just being at home with the kids all day, and the boyfriend should stay home with the kids. I think that's absolutely fair. And if him going off and playing with his band is cutting into like family time at home to the point that she's so overloaded, he needs to not go on so many trips. I mean, it's just not fair if he's going on all these trips, never home, works long hours, which I understand he's trying to provide for the family. But there should be some equality there. And maybe like once she actually is able to have some time to herself, she can kind of like think through things, maybe come up with some ideas on how to mitigate a couple of these issues that she's having. I mean, she's saying that the oldest 2 aren't listening, but I wonder how much of that is like them picking up on her energy, because kids do respond to energy. So I wonder how much of that is, maybe she's being short with them, or saying things a certain way, or doing things a certain way, and they're kind of like rejecting, and I don't know, it could be, it could not be. But if she were to have a break, and maybe that could also help the parenting situation as far as the kids not listening. This is so tough. 25 with 3 kids, and she started at 17. So yeah, and then maybe, she has a 6-month-old, so it's gonna be a little while. But I'm thinking like if the kids are at school, she could get a job like outside of the house. At least that would get her outside of the house, around other people, more interaction, and also more income. But that would at least be like a couple years, because the 6-month-old is still a baby. Ooh. Okay, let's see some of these comments. Unlikely Resolve says, a lot of us were sold a lie that we should give our first kid a dad and a family, and ended up with a bunch more kids trapped in a crappy relationship, or even single again with too many mouths to feed and no way out. Sucks. Man. Someone responded, This is what pushed me to have my tubes removed after my first. I am such a pessimist that I don't believe another relationship would make things better. And Substance Small responded to that and said, I don't think you're a pessimist. It's very difficult to find a man that's, insert adjectives here, to trust to support a family these days. I'll be having mine removed by the end of the year. Hajelian Himbo says, he gets to go to trips with his band, but you can't do anything? This is insanely freaking unfair. And Opie said, it's very unfair. He was able to go because he's in a band with his cousin, who's a decently popular tattoo artist and has a lot of connections in the hardcore scene, which is what their band was. So his cousin makes good money and would pay for it, and due to his connections, they'd usually have places to stay. He tells me I can go places and do stuff, but we don't have money, so I don't know how the heck I'm supposed to do that. Hajelian Himbo responded, even if you can't go on trips, he should at the very least give you a good amount of time to yourself kid-free. He gets tons of kid-free time himself while you have to take care of all 3 kids alone. The least he could do is reciprocate the favor. Having a day to myself once a week while husband takes care of the kids is invaluable and really helps me recharge. Opie said, when we had our last kid, I made him quit all his bands because I told him I'm done being stuck at home with all the kids while he goes and does whatever, but I feel like it's a matter of time before I'm guilted into him joining again. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. I don't think him being in the bands is a bad thing, but I think there should be some give and take. If you're going out with your band once a week, I should also have a free time to myself once a week. I think that's fair. So if that's what he wants to do and pursue a career in music, okay, but like don't just leave me here at home with the kids all the time. And OP made a general comment. Thank you everyone for the support. Yesterday was a really rough day for me. I love my kids and I love my boyfriend. I just find myself really sad that I never got to live the life my friends do sometimes. I'll read one more comment before I go to the next story. Cordiella Jane says, first, I also fell for that lie twice. You were very young with your first and should have been supported better than, I infer, you were and are now. You are not stuck. I went back to school with being absolutely single, 28 and 3 kids. Very little income, all assistance programs I could qualify for, close local college first and online courses after, while working part-time. That stipend absolutely helped get us through then. You still have to pay it back. It's the unused portion of the semester payment that you can claim as long as you live off campus. Were there times I doubted myself? Absolutely. But now I hold both an ASB and a BS, those are degrees, have a beautiful job that ties both degrees together, and my oldest 2 are grown now. I now have a partner and a 4-year-old, LOL, 5 kids altogether. And by partner, I mean exactly that. We support each other, give each other parenting breaks, and I kick myself daily for not dating him so much sooner. I wish I could physically hug you right now. You are beautiful, you are intelligent, you matter. I think maybe your older 2 feel your stress. They will act up when we're super stressed out. That's what I was saying. You absolutely deserve a parenting break, often. He could also find a babysitter for all the kids and give you a date night at home. Date nights are important. Hang in there, beautiful. You are worth it. Oh, that was a good comment. I feel like she gave a lot of actionable steps and some things like that she went through, because she's almost she almost was in the exact same situation that the OP is in right now. So I feel like this is a perfect comment. Hopefully she saw this. Man, best of luck to her. Let me go to the next one. I can't believe I'm here. 31 male here. We have a total of 3 kids. One of them is biological, the other 2 are not. I hate my daughter. Oh no. I feel like having kids ruined my life. I can't do what I want when I want anymore. Every decision, I have to take them into consideration. I have to put my life on hold because of kids. I've been going to therapy to work on my perspective of children, but if I'm being honest, I don't think it's something I can get over. I show up for the kids and my wife. I love them and my actions show it, but I miss my old life, not having to worry about anyone else. How do I, or how did you, get over this feeling? Jesus. Honestly, I don't even have much to say about this. This is one of my primary reasons for not wanting to have children, is that you have to consider them in every decision that you make. Right now, I literally can just leave my house, walk down to the grocery store, get things, etc. If I had a baby, I'd have to get the baby dressed, pack up the car seat, put him in the car, take the baby out the car seat, put him in the basket. It's not like nothing is just a quick this, a quick that. It's always it's like a whole thing. I sympathize with his post, and I really don't have much to say. Let me go to the comments. Avocados on Toes says, part of getting over this is realizing that most parents miss their old life. The media has lied to us about having kids, and don't listen to Jelly Beans 1800. I guess that's another commenter on this post. It's easiest to judge people with kids when you don't have them. Some people just want to be lied to about it. Just because you miss your old life and think it's harder now doesn't mean you hate your kid. No, he said he hates his kid. It wasn't a either or, it was an and. OP responded to that and said, yeah, that person doesn't faze me. I guess he's talking about Jelly Beans 1800. Comes with the internet. You'll have some negative comments here and there. I'm waiting on that day that things will be all good. I literally can't do basic things with my kid, like getting food or going out in public in general. It's like I'm walking on eggshells. And Avocados on Toes responded again, I'm going through the same because I feel like I can't go anywhere without taking her with me, but at the same time, she gets so fussy while we're out. It's like a baby prison. Opie said, seriously, even car rides. I used to be able to listen to podcasts and music, no problem. Now I just hear screaming and crying over any little inconvenience. Whether she saw something she wanted, is hungry, sleepy, whatever. So I just plan stuff around, but then the guilt of not including her comes lurking around. Man, don't feel guilty. You gotta have some things for yourself. As long as the child is taken care of, well-fed, healthy, has everything they need, they don't have to come to every little thing that you do. It's okay just to take one little car ride and listen to your podcast, as long as you don't go to the store for milk and never come back. I think it's okay. And then Avocados on Toes responded again, sometimes you just can't win as a parent, but just know you're not the only one that feels that way. Most people stay silent about how they really feel because people like Jelly Bean pop up acting like you're supposed to love every single second, which just makes you feel like something's wrong with you when it isn't. Be honest with your kid when they're older and tell them how hard it was. That's what I'm going to do so my daughter doesn't jump headfirst into the idea of being a parent. You can love your kids and still feel so crappy as a parent. Opie said it's crazy how society has changed over the course of a decade when it comes to children. C-Form332 responded and said, indeed, I was at Gymboree Play Gym, it's a mommy and me class, and one of the parents cooed and said to me about my then 2-year-old, they grow up so fast, don't they? Super happy smile. I said, really? I feel like they're growing up so slow. And the look on their face was like those movie scenes. Flabbergasted, wide-eyed, with open mouths, both parents. Like, how could I say something like that about the adorable baby? LOL. Just being real, I don't sugarcoat anything. My single friends ask me what it's like to have children, and I lay it bare and real. I don't say, the best feeling in the world, they're so sweet and loving. Yeah, no. Maybe for 5 minutes of your day, the rest is work. Avocados on Toes said, also, kudos to you for just sticking around. I promise you are way more important than you think to her. I had a crappy dad and stepdad, and when I see my husband with our daughter, while I'm so happy for her, I always will wish I had that. So good for you. You are doing great." And Opie said, "Thank you. Same here. I am no contact with my parents. My father went to prison twice, so I had no father figure and learned everything myself." Like the scene from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, if you know that show, where Will Smith was going off about his dad to Uncle Phil. Anyways, thank you for your kind words. Man, that is one of the most powerful scenes from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. If you haven't seen that, go look it up. It's just look up actually, can I play it? You know what? Hopefully I don't get copyright striked, but I think it would be interesting to play. It's only 4 minutes. So basically, I assume most of you have seen Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but this young kid from Philadelphia, he was getting in trouble, where he was living. So his mom sent him to his aunt and uncle who live in Bel-Air, and they're like these, rich blacks of Bel-Air. And, basically his uncle raised him. His dad was wherever he was his whole life. So the dad comes back around after Lord knows how long, acting like he wants to build a relationship, but he don't really. He's still kind of sketchy, whatever. So the real dad was about to leave without telling Will. And so Uncle Phil was confronting him, and I think that's where it starts.
Sit down.
I ain't got time for no lecture.
I said sit down, Lou. Will was doing just fine until you showed up. But now that you're back, you have responsibilities to him.
We're still gonna take the trip.
Oh, bull! Bull! Will is not a coat that you hang in the closet, then pick it up when you're ready to wear it.
Whew. Yeah, so I guess him and Will were supposed to go on a trip, and the dad, was talking it up, and now he's basically about to dip without them going on the trip. It got Will's hopes up, and
his life goes on. He's not supposed to be here for you. You're supposed to be here for him.
You get off my back! You think I want this? It just happened! Now, when Will was a baby, I was scared.
Oh, cut the crap, all right? Cut it! Because I've been there. But I didn't run out on my family. I was there every day for them, because that's what a man does.
Fine, Philip. You win. Now, you gonna tell Will or not?
I'm not gonna do your dirty work for you.
well, he ain't finna call.
Daddy out! What's up?
Oh, pobrecito.
Will, man, I'm glad you're here. Some business came up I gotta handle. So we're gonna have to put our trip on hold.
Yeah, whatever.
Look, I'll call you next week and we'll iron out the details, okay?
Yeah.
It was great seeing you, son.
You too, Lou.
He started calling him by his first name.
I'm sorry, Will.
You know what? Actually, this works out better for me. The Slimmies of summer come to class wearing next to nothing. You know what I'm
Will,
saying?
it's all right to be angry.
Hey, why should I be mad? I'm saying at least he said goodbye this time. I just wish I hadn't wasted my money buying this stupid present.
I'm sorry. If there was something that I...
Hey, you know what? You ain't got to do nothing, Uncle Phil. Hey, ain't like I'm still 5 years old, Ain't like I'm gonna be sitting up every night asking my mom, when's Daddy coming home, Who needs him? Hey, he wasn't there to teach me how to shoot my first basket, but I learned, didn't I? Hey, I got pretty damn good at it too, didn't I, Uncle Phil?
You did.
Got through my first date without him, right? I learned how to drive, I learned how to shave, I learned how to fight without him. I had 14 great birthdays without him. He never even sent me a damn card. To hell with him! I ain't need him then and I don't need him now.
Will.
Nah, you know what, Uncle Phil? I'm gonna get through college without him. I'm gonna get a great job without him. I'm gonna marry me a beautiful honey, and I'm gonna have me a whole bunch of kids. I'm gonna be a better father than he ever was. And I sure as hell don't need him for that, because ain't a damn thing he could ever teach me about how to love my kids. How come he don't want me, man?
I don't even know why I played that. Oh, man. So anyways, played that because that's what OP in this story was kind of referring to. But man, that scene in Fresh Prince, honestly, I wonder how much of that was like improv, but like Will Smith is such a great actor. Also, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. That's, you know what, I'm finna watch some reruns of Fresh Prince. They don't make shows like they used to. Anyway, enough of me on a tangent. Essentially, OP is saying that's kind of the relationship that he has with his father, and so that's, I guess, why he wants to do differently. Let's see if he has any other replies. OP says, she's definitely taught me a lot. I do my best not to show any negative emotions in front of the kids and usually have all these negative thoughts flooding at night or early morning, aka before anyone is awake. Someone gave some good advice. Standard Attempt says, having hobbies. I have things that I do regardless, and honestly, I ignore my kids sometimes. I let them do whatever the freak they want, as long as it's safe. Yeah, it's a headache to clean up, but honestly, it's worth the time alone. My children freaking adore me. It's so cute when I try to hide and I hear them playing, and mid-game, they say, let's go find mommy. No, don't find mommy. I'm lost. And Opie said, I need to start that. I have lost myself completely and have more days feeling miserable than happy. I think this guy can get through whatever it is that he's feeling. It sounds like he needs to have more time to himself and really get rid of that dad guilt of not including the children in every little thing that you do, because you do need time to yourself, and those little pockets of joy throughout the day when it comes to kids, they are a lot. They can be a lot. So you need to make sure that you can recharge so you have the attitude to be able to handle that. All right, so we're going to the longer story. Am I the a-hole for avoiding my son when he wanted to spend time with me? And as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, this story is the one that mentions unwanted pregnancy and depression. So just a little bit of a trigger warning. I, 40 female, love my son, but I did not want to be a mom and was denied, undoing the pregnancy. I love him so much, but I've never deserved him. I was a terrible mom. I knew it was bad, untreated depression, but it doesn't excuse anything. His dad and stepmom took him when he was 10, and they love him so much and made him the most amazing young man in the world, and I'm so grateful. After they took him, I got therapy and then spent time in inpatient for my drinking. My son kept wanting to see me. His dad let me have weekends, and I tried to make the best of it and be a good mom this time. He'd always tell me that I don't need to apologize because I was sick, and he loved living with me. Since he's turned 18, he's spent more time with me, and I know I don't deserve it, and his stepmom does, but I don't do anything because it makes him happy. This past Friday, his stepmom was hosting a work dinner and wanted all her kids there, but my son wanted to spend Friday with me because he always does that. She's more his mom than me, so I knew he should be there for her, but he wouldn't listen and insisted on being with me, so I pretended I wasn't home that day and ghosted him so he'd go, and I saw he did on his girlfriend's Instagram story. But you can see who sees stories, and she did, and messaged me that I was selfish for ghosting and I really upset him. She essentially called me an a-hole without saying it. He hasn't messaged me much since either. I don't think I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. I'm trying to do what's best for him, and that's showing gratitude to the woman who deserves his love. But I thought to try for judgment here. Girl, come on now. At your big age, you're 40 years old, and you're ghosting people, your own child at that. I say definitely the a-hole. You tried to explain it to him, and he insisted on being with you. At that point, that's his decision. You can't force someone to do something that you think is best for them. Obviously, you weren't really good at deciding that in the past. So if he wants to spend time with you instead of going to the dinner or whatever with his stepmom, that's what he wants to do. It sounds to me like you didn't want to spend time with him and you were trying to get rid of him. And because that don't even make no damn sense. You ghosted your own son. He was probably sitting at your front door and just knocking on the door waiting for you to answer. Like, at your big age. Come on now. Average height says you're the a-hole. Your kid is 21 and is well past the age where he can make his own decisions about which of his parents he wants to spend time with. You explained to him that he should really be with stepmom, and it would have been his decision to not do that and hang with you instead. If I were him, I'd feel so hurt by this. Exactly. It's his decision. You cannot force him to do what you want him to do. Opie said, I had no intention of hurting him. Someone else said, you're the a-hole. This is going to be harsh. Don't read it if you can't take it. He is 21. He deserves to choose how and with whom he is spending his time. You denying your presence when he needs it is just you doing the same thing you did before. Your excuses of, I don't deserve him, his stepmom should be his priority since she's like his real mom, etc., are just that. Your excuses and your feelings, not his. Now is the time for you to make amends. Don't let your guilt deprive him of you even further. Apologize and tell him you feel like you don't deserve him, but you'll stop being a coward and will always be there for him from now on. Make amends the way he wants you to, not the way you think you should. That's the best way you can own up to your past and get forgiveness from both him and yourself. Opie said, I don't mean to let my guilt deprive him of anything, and I don't mean to be a coward, but I know that I am. He's the most amazing boy a mother could ask for, but it's true that I don't deserve him, and that isn't an excuse because I did everything wrong by him. Girl, you're still not getting it. You're the a-hole. Ghosting your kid isn't cool. At least give him the respect of being honest. Could you not have spoken to the stepmom about attending as well? Opie said she would not want me there. And Deleted said, did you ask her and hear her say that she didn't want you there? Right, because the way that she's acting, she probably assumed and figured it was the best for the stepmom for her not to be there. Ethnorian says, you're the a-hole. You're very well-intentioned, but he's an adult and you're essentially trying to make decisions for him. You think you know what's best for him. You can share what you think. How about you see your stepmom instead? Since this is special, we could see each other Saturday. But you have to respect his decisions. It might be time for another round of therapy. The way you talk about your son absolutely screams unresolved issues, and it sounds like you could use some help navigating your relationship with him now that he's an adult. Your heart seems like it's in the right place. I wish you luck. Opie said, I still go to therapy because my issues will never be resolved, and I've asked him to go with me, but because of his school schedule and other stuff, he's never been able to. Pacific Rum says, you're the a-hole. Your son has reached the point where he can make his own decisions. Him insisting on wanting to be with you, regardless of the dinner, shows that he loves you just as much as you love him. Limiting his time with you in this way because you think you know better must have hurt him quite a lot. If you don't have any obstructions, let him be with you when he wants to be. And Opie said, I know I don't know better than him. I won't do this again, and I'll follow his lead on everything. So, as you can imagine, the general consensus is she's the a-hole, and she's actually pretty active in this comment section, so I'm not going to read all of her replies, but she's pretty much saying a lot of the same things that she's said to everyone. So I'll go to her first update. Update, am I the a-hole for avoiding my son when he wanted to spend time with me? After my post, I realized how wrong I was and I called my son, and thankfully, he picked up and came over. The first thing he did before I could even talk was give me such a big hug. Oh, that poor baby. I don't know why I'm about to cry right now. But he's obviously very much traumatized by his history with his mom. The fact that, like, as soon as he sees her after she ghosted him, the first thing he can do is just give her a big hug. It almost made me cry, but I held back my tears. I talked to him about his stepmother's event and why I felt he should go and why I felt I didn't deserve him. I told him about the things that I did when he lived with me as a kid and why I felt I didn't deserve his forgiveness. I guess what really shocked me was that my son pointed out to me that he didn't see his time with me as bad and that he mostly had happy memories and all the bad times were just because I was sick and that wasn't my fault. And it's not things I forgot, I guess just things I never valued and I guess never really considered. Small things like how I'd take him shopping to Zeller's on Sundays and always let him buy a toy, how I'd always get a special message printed on his birthday cakes, how I'd always let him sleep hugging me even though he was 10 by the time his dad took him, how I'd miss work to stay with him if he got sick. The big thing he told me that made me cry is when he was 9, kids bullied him when they found out we're ethnically Jewish and made him cry so bad he left school before the Easter egg celebration, so I organized an Easter egg hunt just for him in the park. It wasn't just that. He told me so much more that I did that he valued that if I wrote it here, I'd think I'd break the word limit. Okay, so it sounds like he had like happy memories with her. It wasn't all terrible. And obviously she had some issues, but it sounded like even through those issues, she was still a pretty good mom. So it's so hard to hold on to the happy memories when I think about how terrible I was and how much I yelled at him or drank or smoked. But if he can do it, then I can do it for him. And I've been trying. I've let him take full control of our relationship, and I think it's been for the best. I've been seeing him much more often, and during Mother's Day, he and his girlfriend took me out to dinner and gave me so many boxes of chocolate. I've only been eating them when they come over so we can have them together. Even therapy has been going better since I did convince him to attend some sessions with me, and I think he's understanding what I went through when I got pregnant, but also how much respect I have for his stepmother. Plus, his girlfriend has started going to the gym with me. Okay, great. I love my son so much. He's the best thing that ever happened to me. He is everything that was ever good about me, and thankfully, he got nothing that is bad with me. Maybe in another world where I didn't end up so damaged, I'd like to think that I would have turned out just like him. He makes me so proud and so happy. I will try and never hurt him again and never be so selfish again. So thank you to everyone who convinced me to apologize, and to all the other mothers out there, please hug your sons tonight if you can, no matter how old they are. Wow, great. That's awesome. That's a great update. So this was actually 2 years ago. So she has a 2-year update that she just posted 19 days ago. Oh goodness, I hope it's not a bad update. We ended on such a good note. Okay, I wish that I got to live my son's life. I don't know if this is the right place to post, but I've read a few posts and I think it is. I love my son with all my heart. He's a perfect boy and a wonderful young man. He's 23 now, and he's graduated and already got a great job as an accountant, and he went for that career because it's mine. In September, he's going to be married to his fiance. Okay, so he married the girl, or is going to marry the girl. This Mother's Day, they both honored me, and it was such a wonderful night at my home. But ever since then, I've had these thoughts in my mind that I can't get out. I'm 42 years old now, and I feel like my entire life has just been wasted, but that my son is living the best possible version of it. That's a dangerous stream of thought to go down. When I got pregnant with my son, I was in a foreign country and I was swept up in some stupid religious craze with a bunch of other teenagers, and I was pretty much blocked from undoing the pregnancy when I could. At that time, I did not want kids, and I thought I'd never want them. My life became hell after I had him. I was depressed, I drank, I smoked, I participated in illicit substances a few times, and I would spend hours on hours in the gym because I was stupid and thought that I could get my body back, and even in the bar because I wanted to be flirted with like before. I had to give up custody to his father and go get inpatient treatment for my drinking, and I've been 10 years sober now. Even though I did all of that horrible, stupid stuff, my son still loves me so much that it doesn't make sense. When I ask him why, he brings up all these good things that I can only dimly even remember. And it makes me feel so freaking guilty, because if I could go back in time and undo the pregnancy and never have him, I would in a heartbeat. He's the best thing that ever happened to me, and I would do that. And since Mother's Day, I've been thinking I never got to have the whole college experience like he did because I had him. I never got to fall in love with somebody who could sweep me off my feet and I could live out a fairy tale romance with because I had him. Girl, you still have breath in your body. You can still have a college experience. It definitely won't be like it is for younger kids. You could still do that. You could still fall in love. I never got to have the stable and steady career where I eventually run my own business because of my mental health issues. I never got to decide if I actually did want to have kids or if it was just some teenage fear because I already had one. But he has gotten to do all of that. He's had a great time in university and graduated with distinction. He's been such a good young man because he did sweep his fiancée off her feet, and they've told me to expect to be a grandmother soon. I have no friends. I spend my time either at work or at home or at the gym, and he's my only real family left and the only one who loves me, so I shouldn't feel like this. It feels so good to hug him, and he makes me feel so happy and proud, but the moment he's gone back to his father's, I feel sick, and I honestly regret having him because I wish I could have gotten his life, and I feel like it should have been my life. I've told my psychiatrist this during the last session that we had, and we had a good talk, but I can't remember it now, and I don't know why it gets so hard to remember things nowadays. Does any of this make sense? Am I wrong for feeling like this? Brother, I thought we were getting somewhere with the last update. Honestly, you gotta let it go. You can't change the past. I'm sorry if that sounds harsh. I definitely sympathize with your situation. I don't think anyone should be forced to do anything that they don't want to do. So that part I definitely sympathize with. That was wrong. But now we have to come to terms with the fact that it happened and he's here. And a lot of these things that you're saying that you wish you could have done, you can still do. There's literally nothing stopping you. I just saw a YouTube video the other day where this guy was he might have been 50 and he was just starting medical school. Literally, you can do whatever you want in this world. Anything that you want to do. If you want to fall in love, if you want to have a great career, if you want to run your own business, you're only 42 years old. You have so much more life left to live. You can do all of these things that you want to do. Let me read some of these comments. This is Tocher says, I'm sorry you feel the way that you do. I want to point out that you seem to be really dead set on living on the what ifs when there is absolutely no guarantee you would have had all, if any, of the things that you think you missed out on. That was another thing that I was going to say. She's assuming she would have had the life her son had. There's no guarantee. The fact that you got caught up in a cult of sorts in the first place kind of tells me you wouldn't have achieved all those missed experiences to begin with. Dang. I think you are maybe using this as a crutch and an excuse to not having achieved any of your dreams. Many women still get swept off their feet and find love with children. Many still go to school and earn the degree they want and establish a business with children. It also sounds from your post like you gave up custody for a substantial amount of time in which you could have achieved all of these things. Your mental health issues could have hit you at any point for any reason. I think you will find a lot more happiness in your life if you're real with yourself and actually live your life. You're only 42. That's still plenty young to accomplish those things. Trust me, I'm all for the pity party. I have plenty of those myself, but nothing is more helpful than taking accountability and making the necessary changes to find your happiness. I really hope you do find happiness, especially given that your son is such a wonderful young man that loves you so much and seems like he will be a great support to you in whatever you do. Nothing but facts. They brought up a lot of great points. There was a whole 8-year period where she didn't have her son, where she could have done a lot of these things that she's talking about she missed out on. She's really just, it really sounds like a lot of excuses, and like they said, that she's using it as a crutch. And she responded to this and says, I wasn't in a cult. My family was religious and it was a bunch of us teenagers, and it was easy for us to be manipulated by traditionalists. I don't know what we were thinking, getting all swept up in their promises about our futures. I still got to go to school and get my degree and a job and date and everything, but none of it was like how I'd dreamed it would be because I had my son. Girl, bye. I'm sorry. Bye. And the time after I gave up custody of my son, I spent the first part in inpatient rehab for my alcoholism, and the rest of it is so hard to remember. I can remember a lot of specific things, but nothing in general. I know that's weird, but I don't know why I couldn't do anything I dreamed about then. I just don't really remember that time well. And I know you say 42 is young, but it's not. I'm old now. I can't go in the gym like I used to anymore. Guys barely flirt with me anymore. I never get asked out, and my career's progression has stalled. People 10 years younger than me are higher up than me now. I mean, heck, if my son's going to have a baby after he gets married, then I'll be a grandmother soon. What's more old than that? She's annoying me. It just annoys me when people choose to be victims of their circumstances, because this first person laid out all these things that literally can change, and she just comes back with all of these excuses. Yeah, you're 42, you're not gonna get flirted with all the time anymore. Sometimes you have to put yourself in situations, like it's not gonna be like it was 20 years ago. You have to come to terms with the fact that your life is different. Whether you had your son or not, your life still would have been different at this point. You still would be barely able to go to the gym. You still would be barely getting flirted with. You still would probably have people at your job younger than you ahead of you. There's literally no telling how everything would have turned out. But instead of saying, you know what, let's look at the positives here. Like, let's see how we can move forward and make our situation better with what we have right now. Instead of doing that, you're focusing on all the negative parts. Why? Why? I don't get it. Throwaway 71871 says, I don't want to be rude, but get that BS belief that 42 is old out of your head. It's causing you so much pain, and it's not even true. You're living under a patriarchal belief system that women are over the hill and undesirable after 30. I'm 41 now, and that has been the biggest lie we were ever taught. Unpacking it and sacking it off is the duty of every woman who wants to be free. Yeah, you had a son, and you missed out on being a free-spirited 20 or 30-something. Accept that fact, grieve your perceived loss, and then open your eyes. I am watching women around me start their own businesses in their 50s, perform shows, travel, find partners who they really connect with, heal their traumas, make new friends, build their fitness, become activists, start hobbies. The world is full of endless possibilities. I met my incredible partner 2 years ago after some difficult and painful relationship experiences, and I, for one, can attest that intimacy gets infinitely better as you hit your 40s. You are stuck and you feel hopeless. Your feeling of stuckness is not the reality of existence. It's just where you're at. Only you can heal your traumas and process your grief. It's great that you have a psychiatrist. Focus on your childhood traumas and unpack everything you haven't felt yet. Process the grief and jealousy you feel surrounding your son. It sounds like he's an awesome kid. Whatever you did good. Process all of this crap so you can get to the core of your being and really take care of that girl that you were. She's still in there and she wants to live. She's got so much time left. Stop limiting her. Those beliefs you have about I'm too old, I've got nothing to look forward to, I can't do, etc., are not the ones you arrived on the planet with. You learned them. We all learned them, and now it's time to F them off so we can live. Wake up, you're missing everything. Man, there's some good comments in here. Like, this person is spitting facts. And even still, I can see in all these other comment replies, she's still making excuses about how she's so old and this and this and that. Girl, there was one quote that I really like. Where the mind goes, the body follows. Everything starts in your mind. So if you think that you're old, if you think that you can't do something, if you think that you this or that, you're not attractive, nobody's gonna want you, you're not, that's gonna be true for you. But if you think that you're great, if you think maybe you're older, you're not as young as you used to be, but you're still young and vibrant and full of life, you can still pull, then that's gonna be true for you. And it's a dangerous path that she's going down in her mind, being resentful of her son almost, because that is just gonna build up and up and up over time, and it's not gonna be good. Like, you cannot be jealous of your son, because that's what it sounds like. That is not going to end well. So I hope that her and her psychiatrist can get to the root of this, because that's not going to end well. So this is actually going to be the last read of the video. I'm just going to go ahead and go to the palette cleanser. The last story that I was going to read in this video actually turned out to be way longer than I had planned. So it's the video that I'm going to post right before this one. It's a whole saga. So I'm going to let that be its own video, because if not, this video would have been 2 hours long, literally 2 hours long. Before I do that, just double check to make sure that you are subscribed. I think some of you are faithful and loyal watchers of the channel, but you aren't actually subscribed. So just go ahead and do that, and let's read a palette cleanser. This is from the Faith in Humanity subreddit. I'm super appreciative of these people. A few days ago, I was driving over to my boyfriend's place. At one point, I enter a town, and before I can react, someone's hubcap flies off their car and hits me. I hear an awful scraping noise, so I pull over to inspect the damage. The hubcap was lodged in my wheel well. I try different things to get it out, but it's no good. It's well and truly stuck. Then, one lady crosses the street and comes over to me and asks if I'm okay. After that, an old man pulls over and asks if he can help. As we're all trying to get the hubcap out, a mechanic whose shop is kitty corner from us comes over and asks how he can help. We're able to get it out soon after that. The mechanic and the old man both make sure my car is in working order before they leave. I am so thankful that all those people came out to help me. They had no reason to other than to be nice. I would have been screwed without them. So thank you, random strangers, for restoring my faith in humanity. I love it. This is literally my new favorite subreddit, especially after reading all of these distressing stories. But glad we're able to end this one on a positive note. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.